The Flash! You would think I'd be a lot more nice, kinder to this season since it is the final season, since this is the last year that I will be talking about and weekly reviewing The Flash show. It's been on for 9 seasons, and even though last week was enjoyable, I can't say I was looking forward to this week. It is season 9, episode 10, entitled A New World, part 1, Reunion. How many fucking titles can you have for one episode? This was written and directed by Eric Wallace, who is the showrunner of the show. He has been the showrunner for The Flash for a few seasons now. Basically, the last few bad seasons of The Flash, this guy has been a big part of it, a big probably reason why the show has sucked so damn bad. And watching this episode, look, overall, was it atrocious? Was it a big, steaming, stinking pile of dog shit? No. There was some decent stuff in there. There was some, dare I say, good moments in there. But of course, because it's Eric Wallace, because he somehow has had this show by a stranglehold of his bad writing, he couldn't help himself, and he had not just a couple, but a few bad writing moments in here. Like, for example, the very first scene. It's a random montage of this guy getting ready, getting dressed for work. At first, you think it's maybe Barry Allen. Maybe it's an alternate universe because the color looks weird. It's like blue. Until you see the reveal that it's Eddie Thawne. And you know what's funny is that Eddie Thawne was a character that only was around for the first season. He was killed off in the finale of season 1. You thought he would be a character that would have stuck around, that would have been a part of the love triangle between Iris and Barry. But no, he sacrificed himself. He had a hero's death. And they brought him back a couple of times, but I thought, okay, let's see what they end up doing with Eddie Thawne. Nothing until the last scene. So this whole episode, they had that intro, and then they left you hanging as if like, well, what the hell was that all about? At least that's what I was thinking. Cut back to what I presume is present day, and this is how you know that the only reason why I'm saying that this episode is decent is because when you saw at the beginning what all of the present day current side characters are doing, it makes you think that this show, that this current season, that this current era of The Flash has been dog shit. I'm talking about, you see Cecile going to visit Joe and her daughter on the weekend, so I guess this is the weekend, and it's the first scene that you see what a visit with them is like. Joe is baking all this food for her, and I'm just like, not only do I not care about Cecile having this weird arrangement where she doesn't have to be there for her daughter by choice for most of the week, but you don't even see the daughter. The daughter barely exists. Like, the scene ends with Joe calling out to her, like, hey, it's time to go eat, but she's not there. They don't have the actress there. They probably don't bother with the actress. It's such a lazy thing that makes you wonder, why did they have them have a kid in the first place? Why did they bother doing that if it was just going to be something that gets sort of thrown to the side later on? And why is Cecile even there? Realistically, I would rather Joe still be a character that's there. He has more of a connection to Barry and Iris actually being a parent, father figure. We see another scene of Chester. Apparently, he's building a suit or creating a suit for Allegra, like a superhero costume to help hide her identity. I don't know how this costume was going to hide her identity because she wasn't wearing a mask. And I know not every superhero wears a mask. I know that it's just sort of a weird thing like Superman where you're not supposed to know who they are. Is this supposed to be the final outfit, though? Like, did he not have a mask? I mean, Barry has a mask, and he's right there with them. But also, it's a very ugly, colorful, multicolored suit, and it's just like, she's supposed to be embarrassed and tell him in a shy way that she doesn't like the suit, and he gets a little, not offended, but embarrassed himself. And I'm like, who cares about any of this? Who cares about these two characters? Who cares that it should be obvious that the suit that he made her was dog shit? These characters are awful. They're terrible. Let's move on to Keon, the worst character. Maybe they made Danielle Painter Baker become this third sister personality character of Caitlin and Frost in order to create a worse character so that we don't hate Cecile, Chester, and Allegra as much. We only tolerate them because Keon is such a terrible character. She comes in, she's talking to her plants because she's one with nature, I guess, and then she starts writing in her diary, and we hear what she's writing as if it's like a voiceover thought bubble. And she starts talking about how, oh, she froze this thing for these kids to play on. She froze this area for the school bus to drive by. And you're seeing this horrible after effects of snowflakes going over the scene of her with images of kids playing in the snow, because I guess she caused the snow for the kids to play in. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is so bad. This is laughably bad. I mean, you can make the argument that maybe I nitpick too much about the Arrowverse, that maybe I'm too negative, and so because I don't like certain things, I'm overly negative about other things. I hear ya. I'm saying it right now that maybe that's the case, but this was trash. This scene was garbage. Bad. This was like, I would be embarrassed if this was a student film that I made. You know, like, just that's how bad the effects looked. That's how bad the writing was. Poor Danielle Painter Baker. She just, in general, deserves better than whatever the fuck this is. And then she stops and looks at the camera and literally says, and there's only one other person that I'd love to talk to, and that's you, Mark. Wherever you are, I hope you're safe. And I'm like, what? What was that scene? There was so much wrong with that scene. You know, I started this review by saying that the episode wasn't bad, and I've only covered a couple of scenes that maybe lasted 5 minutes altogether, but that's how bad. I'm telling you, that's how bad the first 5 minutes were. We cut to Barry and Iris. And Iris, we get revealed by the camera that Iris is way further along pregnant than she was in just last week's episode. Last week's episode, she was not showing at all, or at least I didn't notice. Now, she has a full fucking belly. So apparently we've skipped months in between last week and here. It would have been nice if they established that Iris was pregnant earlier so that this wasn't such a huge jump. I mean, this was a mega jump. And I don't know, it felt like we found out she was pregnant like 2 episodes ago, and now she already has a huge belly. They're talking, and then Barry just disappears. He literally just disappears. He didn't do anything. He didn't activate his powers. Nothing. He just turned blue and poof. You see him in I assume the same world or universe that was at the beginning of the episode. He sees that it's the year 2000, and so he kind of freaks out, goes to the police station because we only have like 4 sets that we can work with on this show. And he goes to talk to Joe West, but he can't reveal to Joe his name and who he is because that might fuck up the space-time continuum. Even though Barry wasn't the person. But like the first time ever, Barry was not the reason why he time traveled. Barry did not try to time travel, did not try to go back in time. Even though he's done it 12,000 times, this time he didn't mean to do it. And so he's trying to watch himself, he's trying not to interfere, trying not to ruin anything. And then he realizes the date. He sees the date on the calendar in the office, and then he says to himself, oh shit, today's the day where my mother dies. And that's where I thought, okay, this might be a good episode or a good premise. At first, the beginning stuff was shit. Even the way that Barry got back in time, he literally was just minding his own business and zapped into this time. It would have been better if instead of all of that 5-minute bullshit with all those terrible side characters, we should have created a situation where something changes in the present time that which causes Barry to go back in time. He should be the one to go back and make that choice. I don't like the fact that he wasn't in control of why he was back, and it was too forced. It was way too forced. And so Barry's freaking out. He goes onto the street, tries to call somebody. He ends up seeing his mother and father, what a coincidence, on the street right then and there. And then this big yellow flash, I wonder who that is, knocks him into the street. He almost gets hit by a car. His parents save him. Barry wakes up in the hospital. He's freaking out. He sees them. They're overly nice. I mean, I know that it's his mom and dad, but they don't know that they're his mom and dad, right? They don't know who he is. I think the mom said something to the effect when he was knocked out on the ground that, hey, he looks like my father. Yeah, okay. Maybe that was the explanation for why they were so overly nice. I mean, if you help a stranger, it's like, sure, you're going to bring them to the hospital if you're a good person, but to sit there and wait in the emergency room with him, and then when he wakes up, you offer to take him to a pizza place to get him something to eat. Oh, you need to be fed. Let's feed you. Oh, we don't know anything about your backstory or anything that you're about, or maybe that you're a criminal. Come back to our place and sleep at our house. What? What? I know the point was to belabor, look how nice his parents are, but it was a little too forced, a little too nice. That's what I'm talking about with the writing not being great. Situation was good, but the writing and the dialogue was bad. And there was a nice moment when they asked for Barry's name, and Barry says, Bart. My name's Bart. I did like that. And then Barry finally freaks out at the restaurant, runs away. He comes into contact with Reverse Flash. And I'm not talking about Harrison Wells. I'm not talking about Tom Cavanaugh. No, I'm talking about the original actor that played Reverse Flash in the first season. Or at least, before we found out that he becomes Harrison Wells. I'm talking about the original actor. And I was pleasantly surprised to see him, especially. As much as I like the Harrison Wells Reverse Flash, as much as I like Tom Cavanaugh, we got too much of him. And it got to a point where it stopped making sense of why he was still physically looking like Harrison Wells after a point. So this made sense to make it this actor again. And having them interact, it kind of made me feel like it's the earlier seasons again, like the good seasons of this show. Now, they're going back and forth, and at first, Reverse Flash is telling him, I came back here to kill you as a kid, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's going to ruin time, destroy time. And Barry says, I know, there's nothing I can do. You win. I can't stop you. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. He doesn't kill Barry as a kid. He goes back to kill his mom. So I was confused at first of timeline-wise, why can't Barry stop him? Reverse Flash is already the one that's changing how stuff is supposed to go. But it started to make sense later. Joe West. Poor Joe West. This actor, they brought him back for this shitty position of his character finds this blue kryptonite-looking crystal in the street of where the car almost hit Barry. He picks it up, and instantly when he touches it, he gets possessed. And his eyes turn blue, and I'm like, oh fuck, no, evil Joe West. Oh, damn. And then later on, evil Joe West goes and finds Barry, and they have this weird fight at the hospital, and it's just, this was bad. This was flat out bad. I think Joe West deserved better. I think the actor playing Joe West, this is the final season. This is some of the final stuff, especially because Joe West is a guest star this season. So you don't have him a lot. To have him be this possessed evil version, it's just you didn't need it. You did not need it. And I was trying to figure out, who is he supposed to be? Is he supposed to be, but they reveal that he's the negative Speed Force that took on another body or some bullshit. I'm like, I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand why he possessed Joe. Oh, he's a part of the plan. It's just, this was all bad. This was just a big fat waste of time. We could have been using this time to have more scenes of Barry interacting with his parents, or more scenes of Barry in this world interacting with more characters, or doing more fun things in the year 2000, take advantage of the fact that we're in this time period. No, it was a dumb, silly fight that they have. Joe gets knocked out, the crystal goes flying. They did have Detective, later Captain Singh. I appreciate that they always find a way to bring that actor back. Again, he doesn't do a whole lot, but it was nice to see him back. And then Barry was able to take the now recovered Joe West, bring him to his police car, and so I guess Joe has no memory of this. He's not going to realize that when the guy that he saw looks like Barry in the future. So future Joe West never puts it together of like, oh, Barry, you grown up, look just like this weird guy that I interacted with back in the year 2000. No, that will never come back up again. And so Barry decides to go to Reverse Flash, the same street where his house is, right before Reverse Flash is going to try to do what he goes to do. And Barry says to him, he tries to talk him down. He tries to say that, like, hey, you don't have to do this. You can stop. You can walk away. You're also going to lose as well if you go through with this. Reverse Flash just says, fuck off. I'm going to do it anyways. And then you see them flash run, right? You see them speed run, chasing each other. And then we basically rewatch the same scene from the pilot. The pilot scene where his mom gets killed by Reverse Flash, but you see it's the two of them. It's Flash and Reverse Flash fighting each other as they come into... And so I don't think I realized, maybe this has been said before and I just, like a dummy, don't remember, but I didn't realize that Reverse Flash's initial goal was to kill baby Barry, kid Barry, and he settled for killing his mom instead. And we're seeing the exact Reverse Flash and Flash, the ones that came in from the future into the house. We're seeing their point of view. So that's where I thought to myself, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting to finally see that same scene from episode 1, the pilot, but see it from the points of view of the future versions of those characters. Again, interesting. Everything else, though, was a bunch of bullshit. A lot of bad writing, a lot of bad dialogue, a lot of unnecessary shit like Joe West getting possessed and being evil. We should have focused on this stuff. This moment worked. It could have worked even more if they built it up better. After the fact, Reverse Flash says, holy shit, I've depleted all of my energy. I can't go back to my timeline. He's stuck there. And he says to regular Flash, why did you let me kill your mom? That's when he realizes this is a fixed point. He's supposed to kill a mom. It's like it's destiny or whatever the fuck. And then Barry has a moment where he says, I'm grateful to you, but it's because of you that I was able to get another moment with my parents. And I don't know. I mean, I know Barry's supposed to be an ultimate good guy, and he's supposed to find the good in everything, and this is supposed to be his moment where he finds peace and clarity of the death of his mom. And I get that, but it just felt a little forced that he literally just killed your mom. You literally just had to relive it for I don't know, the 12th time. And I get it, he finds peace now, but I still thought that dude, I don't know if I buy him saying this to Earbot Thawne at that moment. Okay, fine though. And then Barry just disappears. He just disappears, assuming he goes back to his timeline. And I just thought, wow, so, what, he's just supposed to be there? You know what I mean? It's they needed to have a better excuse for why Barry wound up in the year 2000 and how he's able to go back to his timeline. Not that he just disappears and then reappears on his own or without any control of it. That's bad. Again, bad writing. The more I talk about it, the more I realize that it really wasn't that good, that there were good things about it, like I said, but there's a lot more bad, especially in the writing, the more I'm just analyzing it. And then the very last thing is we do finally see Eddie Thawne. What was the point of that moment, right? So Eddie Thawne is he's working on something, and basically he gets the origin of Barry Allen, where the accelerator goes off. I don't know maybe Eddie-thon is not in the year 2000 like everything else that happened. Maybe this is not connected and it's just confusing as fuck right now. But he basically goes through Barry's origin. He gets hit by the energy that makes him go flying back. The chemicals rising. They recreate the Barry Allen origin from that Arrow episode in season 2. And even though Barry was in a coma for like 2 or 3 months, Eddie just wakes up immediately, and yeah, I guess he'll have the Flash powers now. Maybe he's from a different universe, a different timeline. I don't know. That confused the fuck out of me. So I tried to be nice. At the beginning of this, I tried to be nice and say that, hey, there was some good here, some good there. But the more I talked about it, the more I broke it down, the more I went by scene, this episode was not good. It wasn't. It had some decent stuff in there. It had some scenes that I wouldn't mind rewatching as standalone scenes, standalone moments. But Eric Wallace, I'm sorry. You have failed this show. You have failed this Arrowverse. Can't wait, though, to get this shit over with. Now, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too watched this episode. Did you like it more than I did, or do you agree that they're just fucking this up? Or are you like, dude, I'm not watching this stuff anymore. I'm just listening to you rant on it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later. Oh, yeah.